Leadership has got to change. Every time we look at the problems in an agile transformation, where a business is going from a rigid way of working to an agile way of working, it often comes down, the blockage is often leadership. And the problem is that we are conditioned to think of leaders in a certain way. We often think that leaders are someone who we designate with the role of leadership. Whereas in an adaptive leadership model, which is where we try to take people, we don't say leadership is a role. Leadership is a practice that anyone can do. And then we start to have to look at, what does this thing leadership really mean? We have to be very careful when we sort of say, you're a leader, you're a natural leader, you're not a natural leader. Because leadership is very context dependent. Sometimes people can lead very well in one context, in a particular team, on a particular problem with a particular subject, and other times they're terrible at it. In another role, some people are very good at making quick decisions with a particular context. You change the context and they fall apart. So the idea of an archetypal leader is something that we have to smash. It doesn't exist. Leadership is a practice. The big difference between a traditional leader is they see themselves as a technical leader. And a technical leader or a technical authority can analyse a problem, they can see what the problem is and can dictate what the solution is. With adaptive challenges, we don't know what the solution is. It requires learning. So the job of an adaptive leader is to stimulate all the stakeholders, everyone who's involved in the problem, to learn how to address that problem, to come up with the solutions. So an adaptive leader is someone who's got the skills and the techniques to be able to take a team of people, or a group of people, a group of stakeholders, and they don't do the work. The stakeholders do the work. It's quite a different skill set to our archetypal leader as a hero. Being an adaptive leader, it's tough. Because one of the things what we have to do as an adaptive leader is we need to deliberately destabilize the system. We need to create disequilibrium. We need to break apart the status quo so that learning can occur. In that process, we are going to disappoint people. In that process, we are going to have casualties. And if an adaptive leader is not willing to take casualties, then they need to step aside and let somebody else who can do it do the job. This is not easy stuff, but it can be taught, and it has been taught. One of the misnomers of leadership within adaptive businesses is that leaders are supposed to be nice. It's very easy to get caught up in the trap. We hear about terms like servant leadership, where we have to serve the people. We hear about terms like psychological safety. And if we don't understand what these things mean, we can get caught into the trap that a leader is supposed to be nice. A leader in an adaptive challenge, their job is not to be nice. Their job is to drive the people that need to create a solution into that adaptive challenge. They need to be very comfortable with creating discomfort. They need to be comfortable to be able to facilitate and orchestrate debate and discussion and ideas. They have to be able to call out the elephant in the room and say, look, I'm not hearing your voice. What have you got to say about this? It looks like you're holding back some information. Bring it in. Hey, you, quiet, let that person speak. That's the job of an adaptive leader. It's to drive people to think, to break old ways of knowing, to experiment with new forms of thought. That's the job of an adaptive leader. How does one become an adaptive leader? So, first of all, it's a practice. It is not a role. And practices can be learned. And what we can do, if we want to become an adaptive leader, we have to start to experiment, and we have to try to put ourselves out there and to try to create the conditions where adaptive challenges can be discussed. It's a skill which takes some practice. We can understand the theory and we can apply it each day. Not just at work, but at home and in our families, in our soccer club, wherever we are. We can practice the skills of adaptive leadership, and slowly, bit by bit, we can become much better at adaptive leadership. So leadership, there is a paradigm. We believe that this is the right way to be a leader. It's taught to us. It's normalised. We weren't born with the concept of leadership in us. We've been normalised in it. So how do we change? We change the norms. Organisations say, we don't want archetypal leaders anymore. We don't want the hero leader. We don't want the personality. We want the practice of leadership. We want adaptive leadership. And the organisation says, this is important to us. And we're going to teach people, our leaders, how to become adaptive leaders. We're going to discourage archetypal leadership or hero leadership or leadership from personality. We're going to discourage that. We're going to encourage adaptive leadership traits. And we can change the norms. If we change the norms, we change the thinking, we change the behaviour of the organisation.